Playing live and location. This week we cover perhaps the best part of being a musician, coupled with an important decision on where to do it. This is Anyone Can Play Guitar, the podcast for musicians and music lovers that takes you behind the scenes of the music industry. This week is brought to you in partnership with MGR Music. Ever wanted to learn an instrument, hone your skills, or pick up something completely new? You can get so far by yourself, however professional guidance can make all the difference. With a network of tutors right across the UK and rates starting from as little as £15 per hour, visit mgrmusic.com now to get started.
Hello and welcome to episode 52 on Playing Live and Location. With me, Ben, and him,
James. You always go either faster, louder, or higher pitched if you're doing a take two.
Don't give the secrets away. Now, we could have added the conversations on location in last week's episode on forming a band.
Yeah, that's pretty key.
It is key, yeah, getting that combination right. However, from speaking to a number of artists, it kept popping up when talking about playing live. Again,
Very true.
Very key as well. On forming a band, we heard from the likes of Dave Keuning. He formed the Killers, who did all right for themselves.
It's good to get out there and meet people and try people and do that, because I didn't have the advantage of knowing people already in Vegas, you know.
Now, today when it comes to location, Dave has more to say, having relocated a couple of times to follow his dream.
But I would say this, don't be afraid to go to just like a medium-sized city.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the biggest one. It can be just a city that has a few places to play.
And have you checked out season 1, James?
You should do.
Should do. There's loads of great episodes, as we know.
Who?
Do you want me to hold this? Not a whole list, but I'll go through one just now.
Well, give me one that's relevant to today, Ben.
Well, one of which is relevant, is singer-songwriter Willie Mason.
Oh, I liked that interview.
I love that interview because I love Willie Mason.
He's a relaxed guy.
He is a relaxed guy. Something John Newman talks about later is playing smaller shows. Why do this, Willie?
Smaller shows are a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And the venues tend to be more interesting.
Coming up in today's episode, you'll hear from loads of people. Are you ready, Ben? Because this is quite a roll call coming up.
1.
Sam Duckworth.
2.
Justin Lockley.
3.
We Are Scientists.
4.
Blinders.
5.
The original Rude Boy, ex-Specials legend, Neville Staple.
6.
John Newman.
7.
Fickle Friends.
8.
Dave Keuning.
9.
She Drew the Gun.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Woohoo! Clarity, there's no part.
Okay. But it is jam-packed.
Remember, a great way to support the show is to go on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts and give us a rating and a review. It really does make a massive difference for the show. Now, on with the episode.
Let's start with the original Rude Boy Neville Staple. I always have to put that in now.
Yes, he's corrected you, so you need to make sure it's explicit.
And his partner Christine. Neville has been in a few bands over the years. What does he love most about being in a band?
The main thing is enjoy what you're doing, know your craft. There's no point in going on a stage and not know what you're doing. You've got to look confident and comfortable.
I'm not frightened
Yes,
or think,
and having fun with it, because otherwise people will reflect on that. If you're having fun you just go for it, then trust me, even if you're the worst singer or musician in the world, people will enjoy it with you. They really will.
Yeah, once you're having fun.
Yeah.
And our band, Never Staple Band, if you see the band, you can see everybody having fun on stage.
Yeah.
It's like a family on stage. We have a laugh.
We do.
It's brilliant. Yeah. It's other bands I've been in, it's been regimental. With this band, everybody has a say. Like I say, they enjoy themselves on stage, which you can see.
Yeah.
I think that is it, isn't it? If you've got a band, that's some advice there. Have a band that you get on, your mates, you have fun together, know each other, have the banter and all the rest of it. Because if you've got even one in a band that's not enjoying themselves, or they're miserable, or they're in a bad mood, it can spoil the whole performance.
Yeah. It doesn't work.
Yeah. And I'm guessing my next question was, but you kind of answered it, that live still has the same appeal now as it did back in
even
years
better now because we're playing a lot to youngsters who heard the music from their dad, so it makes it quite
And their mums.
exciting. Yeah, it makes it quite exciting, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it does. I think the young crowd coming up, and when we see this young audience out there mixed with the older guys and our ages, it's brilliant. I love it. The fact that it's still spreading and there's still people out there. Also, the live is best because people are getting an individual experience on that night. All of our shows are different in one way. We might have the same set list, but there's always going to be that difference, that song that might go longer because they're loving it, the fans singing along, we might stretch out the song. Neville will go round and round with something if they're loving it.
If the crowd's loving it.
Why think, oh no, we've got to get on to the next song if they're enjoying that one? Keep going, have fun. That was the only thing you didn't have before, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Before the other bands, thank you. That's why the wife looks. Make sure you do that. The other bands I've been in, the previous bands which you know of, it was 3.5 minutes. That was it.
Right.
Not even when the crowd enjoying it and want more. Yeah. That's it. 3.5 minutes, you're done. Yeah. But like Sugar says, with this band, once we see the crowd getting into it, the fans are it.
I'll be dancing along. Never might toast along something new for them. It's always a different experience.
Yes, and they'll sing along as well.
Yeah.
I think that's great. That we used to try and do that ourselves as well, because there's no better feeling when something's just clicking right. And sometimes, and I'm not saying that you're not polished, but when the band's too polished.
We don't like to be too polished. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Too polished. You might as well just put the CD on.
Yeah, exactly.
Go and buy the album, and we want you to buy the album as well. Don't get me wrong. But have the album and then come and see what it's really like live.
Yeah, of course.
Because live, tonight might be just like you said. Tonight might do an extra verse. Next night we might do an extra 2 verse or cut it short.
Swap verses round sometimes. Just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Like well-known songs that I've been doing for a while. We change it up with this band. Yeah, we change it up. To make it different.
Fresh. Yeah.
The chaps from We Are Scientists find banter with the crowd an important point, but you have to get it right. Someone who's very good at this was Mark Morris.
Another cheeky chap.
Oh, again, check out season 1, episode 13, Ben.
Good plug.
Excellent. However, Mark will correct you. He was very much up for the term repartee rather than banter.
I did enjoy that.
Yeah. Banter to him is a bit too Sky Sports.
Yeah.
But, nonetheless, very good at it.
Yeah.
Here's what Keith and Chris had to say on the matter.
Because when I've come to see it, you've got a good rapport with the crowd. It's very jovial and comic. I read somewhere that you kind of met each other through stand-up, going to see stand-up. Is that true?
It was just one of our favorite activities.
Yeah, probably going to the movies as well.
Yeah.
So the whole crowd rapport thing, making it fun and funny.
Yeah.
Is that just naturally you, or
we had to work very hard to be able to do that. I think we definitely always liked music shows too, where the musician or the singer was like vocal and funny between songs. That's sort of a mandatory thing for the singer-songwriter school of performance that we were kind of into back when we were in college in Southern California. There was kind of a big scene for just like a
coffee house
dude and a guitar. Yeah. And so for that, you have to kind of weave your songs into tapestries of personal history and jokes and stuff. And I know we both really admired the people who were good at that.
Yeah.
And then you'd occasionally see bands who had really good sort of stage banter, although it's certainly not a requirement for a rock band. And there were plenty. I remember seeing was it the Jicks? We never saw Pavement back in California.
Well, I think at that point it was just Stephen Malkmus, but it was the band that got called
that became the Jicks.
Yeah.
And no stage action at all. And obviously a very funny and intelligent man.
It's so weird.
But is not trying to give you anything between songs. And it's funny that Weezer doesn't really do nothing between songs.
And thank goodness that dude doesn't even try.
There's a lot of bands we love that they definitely don't do that.
Yeah,
but,
and like also even like further on the spectrum, I've always been pretty off put by like a bombastic, disgust.
It can often take I feel like for rock bands or for pop bands, it often takes the form of some kind of lecture. It's not somebody like further trying to entertain.
Yeah.
It's them saying, since you're getting this from me, these songs, I get to tell you about, this or that cause, or like what makes me angry or whatever. And so those harangues are not really the same sort of entertainment. Like the singer-songwriter people, it's all one show. The songs and the stuff that go. It's all. I mean, if you go and see people like that, they also do the same thing every show.
Yeah.
Like that between song banter, it can be like a 5-minute story and it's the exact same. Like they know all the beats, they know all the jokes. So it's more akin to stand-up in that respect.
Yeah.
But it's really entertaining. It's as fun as the songs themselves. I feel like a lot of, you go to a festival and somebody starts spouting off on the mic, it's often more of like, more in the way of an instructional than how are you guys doing? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to mention quickly, sorry, I just remember the Best Enemy tour ever was probably the one you were on with
Agreed.
Arctic Monkeys and Mystery Jets. That was impossible to get tickets for that, but that was awesome. that was probably the best one I can remember.
The Blinders are in many ways still honing their live shows. Performance is key. This is backstage at a gig, James. So get ready for plenty of background beats in this short clip.
How would you describe your live performances then? So if anyone come to see you tonight at Newcastle Academy, how would you describe? I know how I would describe it, but how would you describe it?
Well, I think it would take someone like yourself to describe it. It's very difficult to try and analyse your own sound and your own performance, but I think that's what it is. It is a performance. We try and make it more than just a gig. Just through visual, through pieces of audio that, it's not just playing song after song really. So, I think that's always been in the forefront of our minds, just trying to make it something more.
Yeah.
And that's it really.
So, this is a stupid question for a band, but you obviously were into live music beforehand. Is the live music, did that attract you to this lifestyle, or was it recording albums, or have you not decided that yet?
I think it started out as wanting to just play live shows, but then the more you do it, the more you go into the studio and record, it becomes more that's your goal rather than just the anarchy of a live performance.
Yeah.
Still a bit of both though, there's nothing can beat the feeling of being on stage. But I think going into the studio and making a piece of art is probably the best feeling you'll get from it.
For Sam Duckworth, he loves getting lots of people together for a live show.
Is it in London doing a 16-piece?
There's going to be an awful lot of us, So 9-piece horn section.
So 9-piece horn section. So where did that idea drop from? Whose idea was it?
I'd have as many people on stage as possible, really. And so many of the records have got orchestral arrangements. We've got carried away in the studio and stacked things up. Mm-hmm. But we've done 12-piece, 14-piece. We've done a few shows. A completely different one with Barry Horns, who like the Welsh football national side supporters band. They joined us for a gig. I just love I love every gig to be different. I love every show to have a kind of its own personality, and I love really big, full-sounding live shows. Horn sections, string sections. If it's possible to make it work, I think give it a go.
He does, however, believe that some songs just aren't right for a live performance.
And I think certainly like songs like Angels in the Snow, which is about Chernobyl. I just don't know if it fit in the Get Came space without feeling too negative. I don't want to ever get to the point where it feels like the combination of politics and negativity is so heavy that it's not an enjoyable experience. It's fine on record, but for live it doesn't really work.
I understand that. So suppose you put that next to like I Spy or something, it might not fit next to each other, and I suppose in the...
Yeah, and there's that danger of not wanting to come come across as disingenuous when you're singing about really heavy, sensitive political subjects as well. It's knowing that if you're going to kind of get into the world of social commentary, you can't just like stick it next to something that's a bit slapstick and expect it to sit the same.
Mm-hmm. In the season 1 Willie Mason episode, we discussed why he was playing smaller venues. I used to quite like a smaller venue gig, both playing and watching.
Yes, I totally agree. There's something about the big stadium gig when everyone's singing and like that in that anthem, but I'll always go back to the Barrowlands Oasis.
Yeah, it's good.
A massive band in a small room.
Evan Dando Clooney.
Oh, how long did he go on for?
Amazing.
It went on forever.
Sitting on the stage pretty much, it was that small.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Brilliant. This has also given John Newman his drive and energy back recently.
Talk about playing live, because I've watched you live before, and it's a real stage performance. You say you just put the suit on, you're giving it 100%. Do you still do that tonight at the Clooney, but just in a different way? Is it stripped back? That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Is it stripped back? Then your voice do the performance, I guess.
That's it. I'm just singing tunes that I love singing. There's a few covers in there.
Right.
A few songs that have meant something to me that I might have let slip.
Mm-hmm.
Even talking about where my headspace was with the formula and all this horrible thing, it feels like I've been in some weird camp where I've been hypnotised and I've managed to escape now, like Handmaid's Tale. And with that, I just realised all the music I was listening to, the playlists, were literally just pop of each week. Do you know what I mean? What was a hit each week? And then even now I've started listening to the music that inspired me to go at this the first time, and the stuff that I grew up to as a kid. And this is amazing, because it's reminded me of when I used to come and see my brother in Newcastle, who was an artist there. I'm studying it. It's reminded me of when I used to come and do that, and the fucking drive that I had to tell people the message in my music, because I wanted to express myself. And I lost that, and it's amazing doing all this because I found it, and it's like finding the most beautiful thing again, because I just generally feel like just so much better.
Yeah.
Just generally so much better about everything, because I'm like, I'm free from the beholding of the formula,
Yeah.
And I'm not. I don't really care, but I guarantee that in 2 years I'll have another chain of hits, and it's because I'm just doing what I love to do. And you were telling me just before this interview that the key thing about this interview is to educate other people of what not to do and stuff like that. And I know that this time I won't get all shiny shoes in LA. I'll just keep fucking loving it and making the music I love, because it works. You know what I mean? That's where I went wrong. In all honesty, that's where I went wrong when I started throwing hoovers in hot tubs and trying to get as many women in my room as I could.
So the next clip straddles both topics.
I like the word straddle.
I know, it is a good word. So a good one before the halftime break. Justin of Editors talks about his earlier career in Your Codename Is Milo. Shout out to the local champs. While sitting in Northumbria Uni.
Put some really great shows on in the room that I'm playing tonight, so...
Yeah,
it's really good.
So is that all pre Your Codename Is Milo?
It was as that was happening. That band effectively started down that corridor there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah? And on that stage at Reds, probably?
I don't know if we played that. No, we didn't. We never played it. We didn't play much in Newcastle. For a Newcastle band, we never played much in Newcastle at all. We made it a thing to not play to our mates. Straight off the bat, because playing to your mates is never really a good indicator of how good a band you are, because they're going to tell you you're all right anyway, or they're going to tell you you're shit just because they're your mates.
Of course.
So we went to, I think, London. We just got out of town really, really early doors on that band.
And you think that helped?
I think it helped a lot, because we didn't see ourselves as a local band. I mean, singers they were all from Sunderland, Washington Way. I was from Yorkshire, and didn't feel like a part of anything that was out in town at that time. At that time, we had like Kubicek and bands like that, and they're all lovely guys and stuff. And like early incarnations of field music, Maximo were just starting.
Heads were probably around about that time as well.
Yeah, Future Heads were a step ahead of everyone because they'd already got records out and stuff. But we didn't fit in sound wise with any of them, so we kind of just went off and did what we wanted to do. And
took a leap of faith.
I think that's and I think that's all you can do when you do music. Is the whole point about it is you make music for as many people as you can get to hear.
Yeah.
You know, and if you keep it in a close scene, then you're just playing to the same people, just in a different bar every other week.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know, I think we did 10, 12 gigs before we signed our first deal.
That's pretty cool. That's good.
Yeah, it was really good. But we were really focused anyway, because I worked in studios, and so we recorded all the time. We were constantly recording.
Mm-hmm.
That band was more a studio project than it ever was a live project.
Okay.
That's my fault. So we just recorded, got stuff out. We had the ability to turn things around really cheaply. Yeah, and then that was that.
And that's how everything started.
Yeah.
This week is brought to you in partnership with MGR Music. Ever wanted to learn an instrument, hone your skills, or pick up something completely new? You can get so far by yourself, however professional guidance can make all the difference. With a network of tutors right across the UK and rates starting from as little as £15 per hour, visit mgrmusic.com now to get started. Now it's time for our regular good cause slot. This week it's Neville,
the original Rude Boy,
Stable.
So I would say Musicians Against Homelessness.
Oh, brilliant.
They themselves are not actually a charity, but they give all money raised by young bands, new bands, up and coming bands, raise the money that way, and they put it out to crisis. So they help kids and people on the street.
So that's a good one to support.
Yeah, that's a very good one.
Excellent, thank you
We're
very
doing
much.
we're doing a CD with them. I might as well plug it.
Yeah.
We've got a CD coming out within the next couple of months, and that's got a lot of musicians, including ourselves, that have put songs in there, and it gets to raise money. It's called Kids on the Street.
Find out more about Musicians Against Homelessness at crisis.org.uk, where there's some articles about how Emma Rule launched the programme and its success to date. Now, on with the episode.
So it's the second half, James. So let's move on to the topic of location. Other interesting episodes from season 1, James, on this topic. 33, number 33, with Johnny Higgs of Everything Everything.
Yes.
Moving from the northeast to the northwest. And number 25 with band leader Jamie McCready.
Yeah, he moved to that there London.
He's still there now. Must have worked out all right for him.
Mm-hmm.
Back to today's episode, and we move on to Fickle Friends, who back up Justin's point about only playing your own city.
Brighton's got a good scene anyway, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got a really good scene.
Yeah.
Not really for pop music as such.
Yeah, we were a bit of a anomaly, I guess.
Yeah.
We kind of stuck out a bit because
Does that work in your favour though?
Well, I guess so.
We were kind of the only people doing what we were doing.
Yeah, that's true.
But we found that we got a lot more traction in London straight off.
Yeah, definitely.
You get caught up in this kind of music school bubble where it's just kind of you put on a show, you're playing a show, and it's just your mates turning up, and it's quite difficult to start building a fan base there unless you kind of go further afield and then come back, which is what we had to do.
Back to the Blinders now.
Back to the Beats.
Yes, they're still backstage with you.
Yeah, they are.
They love Doncaster. It's where they grew up. It was their birthplace.
Yeah.
But they needed to spread their wings.
You're from Doncaster, aren't you? That's right, isn't it?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, like, what's it like in Doncaster for new and up and coming bands?
I mean, we did pretty well there.
Yeah, there seems to be more of a scene growing there. Am I right in saying?
There's a few bands around, but it's just not a place to stay, really.
It's not so much the scene, but there's bands that have come from there. I think this kind of
It's a good birthplace, but I think you've got to grow somewhere else.
So where did you gravitate towards?
The social bar we used to play in Doncaster, and then from there we went to Manchester because we had the boss of that particular bar in Doncaster had a connection in Manchester and said, there's a guy there that will look after you.
Right.
And so then we gravitated over to Manchester, partly through university, partly through obviously that sort of attraction really. And then, it all snowballed from there, and we've stayed in Manchester ever since.
Right.
Tapped us really well, so just going on.
Yeah. We spoke to everything, and they're from around here and Manchester, and they went to Manchester as head of Liverpool Liverpool, sorry. London.
Yeah.
Did London ever get mentioned, or was it something?
I don't think it did.
It's not something really afford, I don't think. But
Yeah.
I think we've always known that it's just way out of our budget, so we just kind of left it as it is.
Yeah.
It's always good to go and play London, though, is it?
Yeah, it's not something. Yeah. But,
Yeah, it's easy to get into, isn't it? But like, I don't think it's essential as what it used to be, going to those big cities.
no, it's
not.
yeah. We've always felt we've sort of been accepted quite well in London. You know, even kind of the northern stigma in there.
Yeah.
Going down south, but it is kind of weird occasionally when you play there. But it's always been pretty welcome. So just at Manchester was where we ended up. Where we still are.
The Blind has touched on cost as a key factor and why London never really came into the picture for them. This was a similar story for Dave Keuning that drew him to Las Vegas. So when I was looking at your story, Pella in Iowa, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Pella? Yeah, and going to Las Vegas, I think if you were going to look at the traditional route, you'd probably think, well, New York or LA. So why Las Vegas?
That's exactly what I thought when I was in Iowa, and I was like, I gotta get out of this state. I seek adventure. I seek more than this. And I had moved around Iowa, and I had met quite a few musicians in the Des Moines area, in the Cedar Rapids area, in the Iowa City area, and I felt like I had exhausted like all the options. So my plan was to move to LA. New York is completely intimidating. It still is, if not more so. It's just ridiculously expensive. All the artists, by the way, are moving out of New York. That's no one can afford to live there anymore. But so it was going to be LA, and this actually sounds like really not a great answer. But the truth is that LA was too much for me too. So I like kind of settled for Vegas.
Okay.
I'd saved up my money, and I had about. I mean, I worked 2 jobs for about 4 months because I was on a mission to move out west. And I was looking online for apartments, and I had enough rent for about 2 months rent in plus the deposit in LA. But I had enough for about a year's worth of rent in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Because it was like a third or less of the rent.
Right.
And so it's like, you know what? It's not that far from LA. Maybe I'll just try Vegas because it seems like an exciting town. You know, Vegas.
It seems like a big adults playground.
Yeah, right. There's like all kinds of things going on there, and so it still seemed fun, and it just seemed surprisingly way cheaper to live. So I tried it out, and just one of those things that's where Brandon Flowers happened to live, and we eventually met after me meeting a few other musicians, and that worked out well for me. So that story might not work for everybody, but I would say this: don't be afraid to go to just like a medium-sized city.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the biggest one. It can be just a city that has a few places to play, as long as you can get out. Like there's places in Iowa where there's like nowhere to play, you know. But at least if you got a city that's medium sized, you got a place. I think that's easier for bands these days to get by and work on their music, because I didn't want to be working like 50 hours a week and then try and be in a band. I'm like, how is this going to work? Vegas, I had a lot more time to write music with Brandon and work on stuff. So it kind of was a blessing in disguise.
Right. Yeah, actually, that's really good because you've answered one of my questions about what are the do's and don'ts. I guess one of the do's is just don't be afraid to do it and go into that medium, as you said, size town, city. Yeah. So anything, if you could go back to 2001, 2002 and tell yourself, don't do this, what would it be? I'm just trying to think of like when you were getting started.
I mean, there's definitely things I would do differently, but
I'm sorry, that's a hard question because obviously you had massive success, so what wouldn't you do the same? But
I know, no, because it all worked out. So that's kind of besides a lot of little things, like maybe jobs I wouldn't have quit. I would have handled those things differently. But, well, it's funny because I leave out of this story a lot about how the Killers got started, that I moved to Vegas for a year, and then I moved to Chicago in the middle.
Right, okay.
It's like a footnote that's not important, but I moved to Chicago with my girlfriend at the time. We're like, okay, let's get out of Vegas. And I moved there. It was freezing cold. The rent wasn't as bad as New York, but it was about more than twice as much as Vegas. And I remember thinking, like, why did I move here?
Yeah.
It's absolutely freezing and costs more money.
Is Chicago classed as like a second city?
Yeah, it's like after New York, it's considered like the second city.
Yeah.
That's kind of its nickname, and it's a great town if you have a little bit better way to get by than I did at the time.
Okay.
I was like just working at a furniture store, so if I could do it again and make a decent living, I like Chicago a lot actually.
Okay.
It's not fun if you're struggling, because then you're just taking an L train everywhere in like 10-degree weather half the year. But anyway, so we got in the car and just moved back. And had I not made that decision, then I don't know how the story of the Killers would have played out, because it was that there was something just drawing me back. So this isn't a bad answer to your question, but
No,
I guess
I
did do it right. It's like that was my mistake.
Yeah.
And I corrected it and moved back to Vegas.
Yeah, that's good. So I guess what the moral is, just go with what your gut instinct, I guess.
Your gut instinct.
Yeah.
Something was telling me to go back to Vegas. And I don't believe in fate.
No.
But it's weird. It just felt I needed to go back.
Whatever it was.
Whatever it was. Yeah. And it was the right decision.
All of that said, it can still be worth getting as much out of your home location as possible.
Definitely.
Now, it does help if your home location happens to be the musical mecca of Liverpool.
It really does.
Here's Louisa from She Drew the Gun. More background noise here to contend with, although, then, who doesn't love a good drum sound check?
Oh, not me.
Like when I first started, I started doing open mic nights, and I used to hang around at this bar called the Lomax where a lot of other musicians hung out, and basically it was just they just had a mic and a PA system, and anyone could get up all the time, and it just had to it was like the first time I went in there, I was like, wow, this is like some weird like backstreet New York kind of bar or something. Right. It was like the people that were going were just mad, and everyone was like just a bit off the wall kind of thing. So so that was one of the first places that I went to, and I suppose that had a bit of a family feel to all the people that went there. And then I just used to go to just do open mics and just like basically just start off as soon as I had like a set, or as soon as I had enough to do like a few songs at an open mic, I just started going to them, and then just kept on building more material, and then you just meet other musicians. And Liverpool's like it's quite like a small community, but it's like there's a lot of musicians. It's quite like dense in that way with musicians, and like there's like it's one of them places where everyone's in like 3 bands or something. Do you know what I mean? So everyone, it's a lot of like, you know, across. People are just in loads of different bands and stuff. So I guess it's those kind of things, just going and getting yourself involved in those things.
Is the Zanzibar still going in Liverpool?
Yeah.
Yeah. As we tried to play there, it was hard to get into them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to get a gig. We only played the Cavern.
Yeah.
When we came down, but for obvious reasons. Only yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, you're right. But we really wanted to play Zanzibar for some reason, didn't I?
Yeah. No, it used to have the
from
bandwagon there. They used to, like back in the like 90s, early 2000s. I think it was the bandwagon was like, you know, like the Coral and Sultans and all that. They all kind of came up together.
Yeah.
And had this band night that was on at the Zanzibar. So it always had that name from that kind of thing.
From that era, yeah.
But yeah, there's loads of good venues and nice promoters and.
Yeah. How important do you think that is for new artists to immerse themselves into it, but also to get the best out of it?
Yeah, I think it's important to have good venues, nice promoters that will match you up with a good, like you know, with a good support slot with a touring band, or
that's
you know, some of those support slots are so important, like for just getting in front of people. That will like your kind of thing. So they're really big when you're starting off, I think. And you know, just to having a lot of different things going on in town. Like every day of the week, there's a different open mic night or something to get yourself involved in, or a different gig to go to. So
the main point about this episode, James, when it comes to location, is there's some big decisions to make.
Yeah, it's a huge decision deciding to go and live somewhere else.
It is.
Whether it's briefly for a long time, do you go all in? Do you go and trial somewhere?
Yeah.
It's not a small
Why
thing.
do you pick that city? Is it the heritage? Is it the live scene? Lots of things that...
Do you go to the big capital city of your country?
And spend a lot of money on location?
Yeah.
So as I said, it might be just choosing a city where you're getting to play live whenever you happen to be and getting out there as much as you can. But remember, always enjoy it. But that little bit of time just to think about it will go a long way.
Yeah, if you go somewhere and you're skint and you can't afford to do anything ever, then is that the best frame of mind you're going to be in? Don't know. But if it's a sacrifice because there's more opportunities, maybe it's worth it.
Either way, enjoy it.
Coming up next week, the double topic combo.
This is continuing this double decker combo.
Double decker.
Chocolate just popped in my head there, James.
Always does. Identity and feedback.
That sounds like a good combo.
Amongst others, you'll hear from John Fratelli.
Because we don't just met, because we didn't know each other, none of us knew each other's real surnames.
Okay.
So what we did when we took each other's phone numbers down was we had put Barry Fratelli, because that was the band name.
Additional news snippets from the interviews you've heard today will pop up in other episodes later in the season, and at the end of season 2 we'll release each conversation with all of our guests in full as standalone episodes. As a reminder, if you like the show, please take a few seconds just to give us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts from. It makes a huge difference in helping us grow our audience and promoting the show. All of the show notes for today's episode can be found at acpgmusic.com, along with our back catalogue of episodes. If you like what you hear, or perhaps have some improvements or specific guests you'd like us to consider, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at info@acpgmusic.com or hit us up on social media. Keep supporting upcoming artists, and we'll catch you next time.